Hello, professors and doctors. It is really our pleasure to do the presentation today. The topic of our study is the first one of the 17 goals. Our theme is zero poverty. There are 5 members in our group: Chen Yiyan, Bai Conghui, Zhang Xiaoling, Zhang Lu, and I am Zhang Nan. Our study consists of 5 parts. And now I will introduce the part 1. And first, it is the research background. The eradication of poverty is the primary task of the 17 goals. And it is also one of the necessary means to protect human rights and interests. Unfortunately, affected by COVID-19, the number of poverty people is increasing. Here is a video which can help us understand the background of poverty. And next is the literature review. Poverty has received wide attention from academic circles, and the research is quite rich. With different regions as the research object, the existing research on poverty topics can be classified into 7 categories. Some scholars believe that poverty reduction should be focused on the unique needs of backward economics. Some scholars believe that providing personalized microloans to women can elevate their poverty. What's more, the others used consumption estimate to measure poverty. And we can see the details in the references. This slide is about the research gap. Existing researches on poverty issues are highly targeted, often focusing on poverty issues in regions or specific ethnic groups, but are more fragmented. They lack systematic expositions or case studies that are easy to understand. It is difficult to form a complete logical closed loop. Therefore, about our research, we abandon complex mathematical models. We adopt the qualitative research methods and analyze poverty itself, and we hope find the solutions through hierarchical and systematic discussions. Okay, that's all about the first part. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I will introduce research method and research problem. This study adopts one of qualitative methods called 5W1H. By answering 5W questions, it introduces the current situation of global poverty. Then take China as an example to explain reasons for poverty and find solutions. To study poverty problem deeply, we divide it into 6 small questions. The first 2 are: what's the standard of poverty? Who is more likely to suffer from poverty? Then we hope to analyze poverty vividly. So we study when is it easy to break poverty? Where in the world is more likely to have poverty? After that, we form a 3-dimensional concept by asking why does poverty occur and how to eliminate poverty. Next, Chen Yiyan will introduce these questions in details. Thank you.
Let's talk about the first question. What is the standard of poverty? Okay, here is the definition of the poverty. It means that the income level is too low to meet person's basic needs. People in the situation cannot get proper housing, clean water, healthy food, and medical attention. So we think that they are in the poverty. And there are 2 standards to measure poverty. One is the monetary standards. It generally uses monetary indicators such as income or consumption to measure poverty, which can be divided into absolutely poverty standards and relative poverty standards. Non-monetary standards are usually used to define multi-dimension poverty. The definition about monetary standards and non-monetary standards can be seen from the reference 17, 44, and 45 at the end of the PPT. Okay, let me show you a picture about the logical structure about the two standards. Okay, here is the picture. And also here is a video on how to measure poverty. We will not play here because the time is limited. If you have interest in it, you can check it in the YouTube. Okay, the second question, who is more likely to suffer from poverty? From the investigation, there are 4 kinds of person who are easily to suffer from poverty. Disabled person, rural population, children, and women. Okay, here is also a video. It's a young woman telling her all poverty experience. And the third question, when is it easy to break poverty? Okay, I think when we make the force majority risk, for example, the disorder and the recession occur within the system, for example, the economic crisis, etc., and also the pressures outside the system, for example, the military wars, political sections, trade wars, for example, the China and the American, yes, and etc. Also, the following video introduced the hard life of Iraqi children after the war. Okay, there is, and the next is the first question. Where in the world is more likely to have poverty? There is an investigation from the World Bank. There are 5 countries: India, Nigeria, Congo, Ethiopia, Bangladesh. Okay, but there are another investigation. The different investigations, investigations can get a different conclusion. Okay, and the following video introduced the poverty of people in South Africa. And the 5th question is, why does poverty occur? And there are 2 aspects. The general reason about economic general poverty, non-social cause of poverty, personal factors, for example, if somebody who don't want to find a work, and some other factors, education, systematic factors, and emotion factors. And there are many countries in the world in the poverty or have overcome the poverty. So we can take China as an example. The factors that lead to poverty in China, including human capital and information technology shortages, difference in natural resources and women's, backward transportation, geographic location disadvantages, etc. And now China has long been the 2nd largest economy globally. So the poverty alleviation helped China to conquer the poverty. The next student will introduce about that. Thank you.
Chapter 4, How to Eliminate Poverty. Reduce poverty. A lot of strategies to reduce poverty can be categorized in 2 aspects. The first one is whether they could provide materials to meet people's basic needs. The second one is whether people could improve their income level to buy basic goods of needs. Target poverty alleviation. Status intervention called target poverty alleviation in China also plays an important role in poverty reduction. We will use China as an example to show how to reduce the number of poverty people. By the end of 2020, China has completed poverty alleviation in new areas as a schedule. We can see these 2 charts show the non-poverty-stricken population and county in China from 2012 to 2020, showing the state of continuous decline. Strategy. Here we use multiple case method to enumerate its poverty alleviation policy measure at the macro, meso, and the macro levels. The first one is program for renovating, dilapidating rural house. The macro policy aims to improve the living condition of rural residents in poverty, and state fully provides financial subsidy. We can see the before rural house and the after rural house. The second one is strengthen power supply and guarantee in impoverished area. 3 years action plan for comprehensively solving the power problem of people without electricity, aims to build a nationwide rural power grid system to make it accessible to all rural areas in China. We can see the before power supply facility and the later power supply facility. The last one is poverty alleviation in education. 950,000 teachers in total and nearly 17 million teachers in rural schools in the central and western regions be trained through the National Training Plan. We can see the before classroom and the after classroom. Besides, China has also implemented measures such as photovoltaic, poverty alleviation power station project, ICMO's poverty alleviation project, metro credit for poverty alleviation, relocation plan for poverty alleviation in other places, cooperation between the East and the West, counterpart support plan, and much more. Thank you.
China has won the battle against the poverty and achieved the poverty reduction goals of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 10 years ahead of schedule, significantly reducing the world's poverty-stricken population. Here we can see a video recording the voice of villages in China's poor villages after they got rid of poverty. In this complex era, the realization of no poverty work requires more investment in technology, funds, and policy on a global scale, and requires the joint efforts of the whole world. We sincerely wish that all of us can live in a utopia without poverty. The above is what our group shares. Thank you for listening.